Hello, family. Welcome to Be Still and Know. It's good to talk to you and see you. Not see you, but talk to you and share with you. I was on retreat last week. It was a really great retreat. I know I've talked about it before, but my happy place is Pittsburgh. I do love going there, and there's a great place for me to do retreat. It's at the St. Paul Minor Seminary. The rector there is a very close friend, and so he lets me stay there. And the chapel is really beautiful, and the churches in Pittsburgh are really beautiful. One of the churches I went to visit, I shared this with a couple. I think at Mass this morning. No, Mass yesterday morning. I think I shared, but um, one of the churches I love to visit in Pittsburgh is St. Mary's in Polish Hill. It is very old church built in the steel mill era, probably 1800s or so. Um, And one of the things that's really beautiful about it is it's massive. It's almost 900 people. I think it's bigger than Pittsburgh's Cathedral, to be honest. It's huge, a huge building and a beautiful interior of a church. And so I got the opportunity to go there Wednesday evening for Mass. Now I went as a lay person. I just sat in the pew and participated. It was kind of beautiful to be able to do that. As a priest, you don't get to do that too often. But so I sat there and I did a holy hour before Mass, and Mass was really beautiful, and the sanctuary is really quite stunning, and you can really tell that this was a church built by the people of the community, to worship in. And one of the things that amazes me about St. Mary's is as big of a church it is no parking lots, zero. There are no parking lots attached to the church whatsoever, which means that when it was built, everyone walked to church. 900 people walked to church from the community and went to Mass at St. Mary's. And even the road out in front of the church is very narrow and steep, like most roads in Pittsburgh, very hilly. Polish Hills is no different. But but one of the things that St. Mary's Church does for me anyway, and is in its physical appearance, is it shows me that at one point, churches Catholic churches were the heart of the community. They were the center, the hub, right? People went to them for everything. Spaghetti dinners were, in this case, Polish Hills, probably, you know, halupki and pierogies or something like that. But it's just beautiful to see that this church, at some time in its history, was the heart of the community, and that everything that happened in that community probably revolved around St. Mary's Church. It's Church of the Immaculate Conception is its really full name, but they call it St. Mary's for short. But we really want to bring, I think every pastor wants that desire for his parish, for his church to be the center of the community, the center of what we do as a community of believers who don't just come on Sundays to worship, but make the church a place of activity. Wherever it is. One of the funny things that happened when I was at Mass this past week there was after Mass was over, there was maybe 20, 15, 20 people there, and mostly older, but like, after the Mass was over, conversation started about whether or not there was a funeral the next day because there were orange cones out in front of the church so no one would park there. And that's usually a good sign that there's, either a wedding the next day or a funeral the next day, and they want to save space for the limo or the hearse or whatever. And so, 5 or 6 people were standing around, definitely lifelong members of St. Mary's, wondering, if it was a funeral, like whose was it, like, what time, maybe what time it was, so they could go. Was there a luncheon? Who was helping with that? Like, just a concern, right, for the community and what's happening in the community of their parish. And so it was, kind of funny to watch, but still in a way beautiful, that these people, even though the parish doesn't exist anymore. St. Mary's has become part of the Shrines of Pittsburgh parish. So there's 5 churches that encompass this new parish called the Shrines of Pittsburgh, and St. Mary's is one of them. And if you see the inside, you'd understand why they consider it a shrine. But again, the emphasis is on making the parish the center of the life of these people, right? Everything revolved around the parish. That's why schools were attached to parishes, right? Because they were the center of the community. And it's our desire to be the same way, to make St. Patrick's, a place where people can come and gather, have meals, have activities, and do things. But again, and I keep repeating this over and over again, what we need are volunteers to make a church a community, to make a church the center of what we do as a parish. We need volunteers. We need people to help, have fall fests or family dinners or movie nights or, food truck events in the summer. All those kinds of things take volunteers, people willing to help out and kind of, manage the event or set up and tear down for the event, clean up after the event. That all takes a team of volunteers to do it. And I think St. Patrick's has the potential to be a place where the community of that surrounds us sees us as a place not just as one that goes out and helps all the organizations in the area, which we do so well, but one that welcomes the community in with, events and things that we can do as a church that kind of show the community we care about them. We want to be a part of, their lives and want them to be a part of our lives. And so I really encourage you, like, to have the heart of the people of Polish Hills, right? Who still to this day desire that their church be kind of the heart and heartbeat of their community. And so I pray we can do that as a parish and as a people. We have a wonderful director of volunteers and ministries that can help with that. Our whole team here wants to help gather in volunteers so that we can throw great events and great parish activities that invite the community in and become again kind of the heart of our neighborhood and our community. So please keep that in your prayers. Consider volunteering at St. Patrick's and helping out in whatever way you can. Again, it's the third pillar of our church: gather, connect, serve, and go out. And I think that particular pillar, serve, is one that we're not super strong in, but I know we could be because we're a wonderful parish. And so, again, thank you for listening to Be Still and Know, and take care and God bless and have a great fall. Eat some pumpkin pie and some apple pie this season. They're delicious. And have a great week. God bless, and I love you all.